How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with the boys, Alex and Ryan. Another day. Yankees play at 1 o'clock this afternoon against the Detroit Tigers. Yesterday's game, not the most exciting one, obviously wasn't televised, but we saw a great performance from Clark Schmidt, 7 Ks over 5 innings. Really good stuff. This is what we want to be seeing from Clark Schmidt. Obviously, he has not had the most consistent spring, but this performance gives us a really good indication that he's progressing. He's ready to take on a starting role, especially with Rodon out until maybe late April, and then of course Frankie Montas out until August. So there's a lot of things kind of unfolding, but after yesterday's game, they did reassign Jason Dominguez to the minor league camp, and this was expected, guys. I know a lot of people are like, we want him to be playing left field, center field. This was always expected, and yes, he got on base more than he got out in spring training, which is almost insane to consider, but the fact of the matter is he still needs some work defensively. We have a free agent kind of issue in center field next year with Harrison Bader becoming a free agent, and the injury-prone kind of, unreliability he offers us. It's good to have a guy like Dominguez, who is a star in the making, if he can continue his development, in kind of waiting in the wings. So this is a really good scenario for the Yankees. They have a lot of high hopes for these players. But right now we want to talk about Anthony Volpe and manager Aaron Boone saying yesterday on, I think it was the Foul Territory podcast, I think like Eric Kratz and some other baseball guys. Essentially, Aaron Boone said that they are very much considering Anthony Volpe for opening day roster, for the 26-man roster. And this is a really interesting scenario because Ryan and I have been talking about him starting in AAA and really just getting some reps and them figuring things out at shortstop and second base with Gleyber Torres and IKF. But hold on a second, Volpe's been so good in every portion of his game. He's not just showcasing offensive quality, he's doing it defensively as well at shortstop and second base. So now you have to ask yourself, if you're Aaron Boone, and now you apparently, according to Joel Sherman, or John Heyman, one of those two guys, a lot of the big-name players on the Yankees are advocating for Volpe to be called up now. They want him on this team. They want him playing every day for the Yankees. So the question is, who's got to be the odd man out here? Because it's got to be Gleyber Torres, maybe Josh Donaldson at third base, or it's got to be Peraza at shortstop. But one way or another, if the big guys, if Judge and Rizzo and Stanton, and they're all saying, we need this guy on our team now. He's got the competitive nature. He's disciplined. He's ready for the bigs. He's ready for the show. How do you not listen? Judge is the captain now, right? If Judge is saying it, Boone's listening. And Volpe, if Judge wants him up, will probably be called up. But the question here is, who's got to be the odd man out, Ryan? So it's definitely an interesting discussion. We've had it many times. But let's kind of give our take now that they're continuing to roll with him. He's starting today, and he's starting to become a little bit more of a prominent piece in this everyday kind of lineup. And it's getting exciting, guys.
Yeah, so first off, I want to just mention that Anthony Volpe's plate discipline, I had mentioned to Alex prior to the episode that I figured out a way on StatCast to find swing and miss rate and chase rate. Anthony Volpe has seen 67 pitches out of the strike zone. He has only swung at 7 of them. His chase rate is 10%. For context, the league leader last year was 16%. I know this is a small sample size, and there are batters who can chase at pitches just 10% of the time in a small sample, but this is a guy who's facing some major league pitchers, facing AAA guys. He has swung at just 7 of those pitches. That's ridiculous to me, number one. And then number two, as you mentioned, the team clearly has the main guys on the team clearly view Anthony Volpe as someone who can contribute, someone who can help them right now. This team is not going to see DJ LeMahieu in the lineup every day, whether it's to limit his workload, which I know we had Chris Kirshner on the podcast when I interviewed him. He said that he viewed LeMahieu as someone that the Yankees are going to play full time. When he asked Brian Cashman about it, he said that he never really viewed LeMahieu as someone they would have to load manage or anything like that. But we know he's not going to be playing every day because Josh Donaldson and Gleyber Torres exist, right? And I've been a staunch advocate for the point that Torres and Donaldson are here for two different reasons. Torres is here because he's a really good hitter and a really good player, and the Yankees need that in their lineup. And Donaldson is still here because the Yankees want to figure out what they have in him before they cut ties, whether it's in a trade, whether it's in DFA, or whether it's just, he leaves in free agency. Whatever it may be, they want to know what Josh Donaldson is before they make a decision on Josh Donaldson to change, who's the third baseman long term. But here's the thing, man. It's really hard for me to sit here and say that Anthony Volpe shouldn't be on the major league roster. Aaron Boone, as you said, he says he's in the mix. Brian Cashman, prior to spring training, told Volpe directly, you have a chance to win this job. Has this kid not done everything to show that? A lot of people have said, you can't just look at spring training numbers. And I agree. You cannot just look at spring training OPS. For example, Andre Chaparro has a 1,400 spring training OPS or something like that. he's not making the major league team. He's already been reassigned. That's not a bad decision, even though he's killed it in spring training. Anthony Volpe has a really good spring training OPS, but he's not chasing. He's swinging and missing at under 10% of pitches total, right? So he's not swinging and missing. He's not chasing. He's hitting the ball hard. He's working walks. He's not striking out. He's running the bases well. He's playing really good defense. There is nothing to Anthony. He's hitting a bunch of line drives as well. The big thing here for Anthony Volpe last year he struggled with, he was hitting a lot of balls as pop-ups instead of fly balls, and he wasn't hitting as many line drives. He had just a 15% line drive rate, I think, last year. In spring training, it's up to 26%, right? His ground ball rate is under 35%. His pop-up rate is under 10%, right? So what has he done that is remotely considered not good? Like, you can't say anything he's done in spring training has been anything short of excellent. His batted ball sprays are elite. His pull rates, he's pulling over 60% of batted balls. And people may look at that and say, he's a pull-happy hitter, we don't want that. But it's important for me to note that he is pulling the ball a lot, and he's hitting the ball in the air a lot. That's going to lead to a lot of extra base hits, a lot of home runs, a lot of doubles. And then in Yankee Stadium, if he wants to spray the ball the other way for an opposite field home run, which we've seen him do, especially we saw that game against the Red Sox, right center field double, right center field home run. He has opposite field power, but it's that pull side power that really can get you to that 20, 25, even 30 home run mark. He's shown that he can run the bases well. He's played excellent defense at shortstop, and I think he's going to be an excellent defender at second base. What have we, and the big thing has been the arm. The arm is an issue. I haven't seen it be an issue so far. Again, small sample size. I'm not trying to sit here and say I know more than scouts who have watched him intensely, and it is their job to, grade these prospects. But what have I seen in Anthony Volpe's game this spring training? Assuming this is an open competition, that would suggest that Anthony Volpe has not deserved to be on this major league roster. The Yankees need a leadoff hitter. He gives you that. The Yankees need more speed in the lineup. He gives you that. The Yankees need more offense in the lineup. He gives you that. If you have to trade Torres and you move Torres for an outfielder that can be your fifth hitter, you do that to start Volpe. I love Torres, but if you don't have to sacrifice yourself offensively to start Volpe, you 100% do it. Because, is it really that unrealistic for me to say that he could be a 115 WRC plus hitter with elite defense at second base and just carry over the base running he had at the minor league level? That sounds like it's not crazy to say. Plenty of rookies have done that before, but because Volpe has really good defensive skills, has really good base running skills with that 115 WRC plus over a full season, we're talking a 4 to 5 WAR player. The Yankees had just one player eclipse that mark last year, Aaron Judge. So, this is a player who can really change the dynamic of your season, change the outlook of your season. I'm starting to get more and more impressed. And you know that we've been recording every day, and every time we talk about Volpe, I'm like, let's push let's stop a little bit here. Let's place our foot on the brakes here. Let's realize Torres is here, Donaldson is here. But now I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel the Volpe mania. It's Volpening day, folks, and he's got to be on that opening day roster.
Volpening day, that's actually awesome. I don't know if you just came up with that.
No, I did. I saw it on Twitter.
Media. Okay, yeah. Everything's on Twitter, but that's actually hilarious. But no, you have a good point, and I want to actually kind of expand upon the point you just made about why not, if they're going to call up Volpe, Gleyber Torres is the one roadblock standing in his way. And I think we can all agree with that. Like, it's Torres, that's the one we have to move. Because IKF, he's done. Like, they're putting him in center field, for God's sake. They might as well make him the water boy at this point. Oswald Peraza, it's his job to lose at shortstop. He's starting to hit better. He's starting to look a little bit more consistent offensively. His floor is Gold Glove level defense. And the Yankees know that. And that's a really good problem to have. At the very least, he's going to offer you elite defense. Anthony Volpe, as you said, could be an above-average defender at second base, and his hit tool is something to be excited about. The contact, the lack of, he doesn't have a big chase rate, generates a lot of power. For a guy of his size, he is just an all-around monster, and this is a player who wants to get better. You watch him. He strikes out, or there was a bad call. I was watching 2 days ago. He strikes out, and it was a bad call by the ump. The ball was outside. It was a fastball outside. It was probably about 2 inches off the plate. Calls it a strike. And he strikes out, and I just saw Anthony Volpe's face. And in spring training, sometimes players don't really care. They walk back, whatever. It is what it is. Volpe looked like he wanted to murder that ump. He looked like he wanted to kill him. And I was like, wow, okay, this guy is pissed off, and it's a spring training at bat. he gives a crap. He really, really wants this. And that's why guys like Aaron Judge are coming out and saying, I don't care how old you are. Like, we want players like this on the team now. And he's advocating for it. It's quite obvious because at the end of the day, Volpe has the mental fortitude to play in the MLB. He has the mental fortitude to look a Yankee fan in the face that's criticizing him and say, watch this, and hit a homer. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of player he is. He's a beast. And like, that is what we need here. We need a guy who's going to be able to handle the criticism because he's a top prospect. And here's the thing. I kind of feel as though when you have a player that mental strength and that mental fortitude, you give them opportunities because they can handle the down points. He's the top prospect in our farm system. We've been talking about this guy for like a decade, and now it's time for him to finally do it. It's time for him to finally take that step forward. And he's not just taking it in stride. He's taking it and he's like, I'm not letting this go. You guys have no choice but to promote me. You guys have no choice but to make the most like tough decision. And that was always the best case scenario. He was going to put Aaron Boone in a spot where there was no choice but to promote him. And the only way he was going to do that was by playing elite defense, showcasing his hit tool, and getting pissed the hell off when he gets struck out in a freaking spring training game. Looks like he's going to murder the ump. This is exactly the type of player we need here. He's going to do everything at a high level. And the thing is, he's the type of player that doesn't make the same mistake twice. He does one thing, he comes back up the next at bat, he comes back up in the next inning and defensively, and maybe he overthrows, maybe he makes an error. For a fact he's not doing that again. With IKF, I can guarantee he's botching another ground ball at some point in the next 2 games. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Volpe brings to you. Like, he does not make the same mistake twice. And that is a really impressive developmental kind of skill set from him. And, looking at what the Yankees need right now, the point I wanted to hit on that you said before was, if the Yankees can flip Gleyber Torres for a starting left fielder and they can promote Volpe now, which inevitably is going to be the course of action, that is a really good situation. That is a really good idea. So I'll ask you this, Ryan. If you're looking to trade Torres right now for an outfielder specifically, is there anyone you have in mind that could fit the bill, that could come in, literally start immediately, push Aaron Hicks to a bench spot, maybe just, he can fill in if they need some help in center field, give Judge a couple days off every now and then. You obviously have Oswaldo Cabrera. Maybe they just DFA him entirely because Oswaldo Cabrera, he should be in the lineup over Hicks. I firmly believe that. A lot of people are on the same boat. I think that he is good enough offensively. He's a ton of potential that is untapped. So I'll ask you this, Ryan. Like I said before, who would you be targeting if you were going to flip Torres for a 5-hitter that could start in the outfield?
Yeah, so someone actually brought this up on Twitter, and I heard it at first, and I was like, really? This doesn't make much sense to me. And then I rethought about it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this does make a lot of sense. So first off, you got to identify a team that's, number one, looking to compete, so they want a player like Gleyber Torres because they want to improve their roster, and number two, they're a player on their roster that maybe doesn't fit their ballpark or doesn't fit what they're looking for in terms of the outfielder, or can't handle maybe either A, can't handle the position, or B, it's just not a great fit for that ballpark. And I think that guy might be Mike Yastrzemski. He's coming off of a year last year. He had just a 99 WRC plus, but he's a left-handed hitter at San Francisco, which is not a really good combination. If you are a fly ball hitter in San Francisco, you're not going to perform very well. You can't hit as many home runs. They haven't had a lot of home run hitters. They haven't had a guy hit, I think, like 30 home runs in over a decade. That ballpark is hell for guys like Mike Yastrzemski. He's primarily a center fielder, but you can move that pretty easily into left field. As you mentioned, the Yankees would like to have depth at the center field position. He's controlled for the next 3 years. He's not too expensive. He is 32 years old. He's entering his age 32 season, but he is someone who was a later bloomer. He has good speed. He's a really good defender. Last year was his first year not being a good hitter. Every year prior to that, he was a above average hitter. Between 2019 and 2021, he had a 120 WRC plus. He hit 56 home runs. He has about league average strikeout rates, but he walks a good amount. This is a guy who, no shift, better ballpark environment for him at Yankee Stadium. This is someone that you could probably bring in and get about a 110 WRC plus from with good defense. That's probably going to get you close to what Gleyber was going to give you, and you're replacing Aaron Hicks with that, right? So you also have to account for the fact that you're going from Aaron Hicks to Mike Yastrzemski, and you're also going from Gleyber Torres to Anthony Volpe. Would you rather have Volpe and Yastrzemski or Torres and Hicks in your lineup? I think you're picking Volpe and Yastrzemski. Now, for the Giants, they do have Thairo Estrada, who's an old friend, but he was awful defensively at second base last year. He had negative 12 DRS. I think he's someone they can move to third base, perhaps. And you now have a guy in Torres where if you're the Giants, number one, you have a player that is young and on your team. You can extend them if you'd like to. And then number two, if you fall out of contention, you have a pretty nice trade chip in Gleyber Torres. Torres is someone who could probably feast on that spacious ballpark in terms of going out and drilling a lot of extra base hits. He's a really good defender at second base. He's someone that you can trust there. And he's someone that gives them something they don't have, which is power, right? They don't have a lot of power. And quite frankly, there were some rumors that they might have been moving Yastrzemski. Now, the GM openly kind of said that's probably not going to happen, but things can change, right? And I think this is something that would be worth changing. In terms of projected WRC+, Steamer has him at 109, Zips has him at 117. He's kind of like if you took Max Kepler, but made him like more consistent number one and with a better track record. You know, Max Kepler's whole thing when the Yankees were interested in him was the upside, and Yastrzemski has a better upside and a better floor. So I think that could be a pretty good fit, but maybe I'm not as in tune with the Giants as I am with the Yankees. So perhaps if there's a Giants fan watching this, you guys can correct me a little bit here, but I think that'd be a pretty decent fit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, this is definitely a situation where the Yankees have some leverage right now because Volpe's playing so well, and Gleyber Torres, you know, it's kind of funny, right? Because Gleyber Torres is playing for Venezuela in the WBC. He kind of hurt himself by doing that. I mean, of course, WBC is awesome for baseball. Love it. But in specific opportunity for Gleyber Torres, because Torres is not in spring training, Volpe's gotten all of his reps. You know, every single point where Gleyber would have been playing, Volpe's been there instead. And so basically, by Torres doing that, Volpe's had more time to prove that he should be on this roster, and it actually may end up being a negative thing for Torres specifically that he went to the WBC. Do you think that had any impact, just like those reps kind of falling over to Volpe, having more of a chance to prove his worth?
I think it's benefited Volpe. I don't think it's hurt Torres in the sense that like he's still getting reps and it's in a much more competitive environment, if that. So I think this is actually pretty good for Torres. You know, he did beat my Dominican team, so I'm not very happy with him right now. But I think that the WBC reps are probably better for Torres than spring training reps in terms of just at bats. But in terms of like meshing with the defense, he's pretty comfortable with all the guys there already. He's played with Peraza. He's played with Donaldson. He's played with LeMahieu, so I'm not too concerned there. I think it does nothing but benefit the Yankees because they can play Volpe a lot more. You kind of know what you have in Torres. Torres is not proving anything in camp. I think Volpe had a lot to prove in camp, and this just gives you an opportunity to do that. So I think it's kind of been a win-win for the Yankees, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be, because obviously you can flip Torres for equivalent value when he hasn't even taken an at bat in the regular season yet. So the value's still there. Yankees, a lot of moves to make over the next week and a half ahead of opening day, but we're really excited, guys. Make sure to drop your likes and subscriptions below to the YouTube channel. We appreciate that always. If you're listening on the audio on Spotify or Apple, definitely make sure to turn the notifications on, and we appreciate a 5-star review if you are so willing and so kind. So we appreciate that as always. Make sure to leave a comment in the YouTubes. Always happy to have a good conversation about this Yankee team, and leave your opinions on Anthony Volpe making the opening day roster. Going to be some fun stuff, some fun news coming out. We got you guys covered on the daily as always. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.